Okay, so before I get into it, I want you to watch this clip. Pretty wild stuff, right? Now, I want you to watch this clip. Now, which came first? So obviously, if you couldn't guess, it was the real clip. But what makes this so special is that this is a real thing that a real person can do anytime in a real situation. And knowing that this amazing moment is tangible, something that anyone can achieve, is why sports anime is so special. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me explain. Let's talk sports, more specifically sports anime, because we're an anime channel. Sports anime are 90% hype and 10% lengthy explanations of ultimate moves, and I'm so here for it. So I'm gonna be leaning on Haikyu for a lot of this video and deconstructing the elements that make up sports anime and why we love it. Why? One, because it's probably the most popular sports anime out right now, and two, I love Haikyu. And I don't know shit about volleyball, and apparently I didn't need to love this show, because now I'm in the fandom now. Even though sports anime is packed with tropes that doesn't make it any different from any traditional shounen, it's got something that makes it special. Sure, Goku can knock me on my ass with a ki blast and I'd be toast. I'm not a Super Saiyan. It's why I'm not fighting Goku. But with sports anime, all those special skills and wild moves are things that with enough training, I could do, or at least attempt. And that way, sports anime like Haikyu is one of the most accessible genres. Not only can I learn the mechanics of a perfect layup, but I can also relate to characters' emotions when they sink a crucial basket or miss an important pass. Because I can watch literal, actual breathing humans do those things and feel those emotions too. If you watch the NBA All-Stars game this year, you know what I mean. The Rule of Elam is the most sports anime shit I've ever heard of. It even sounds like it's from a sports anime. Think of the reigning powerhouse losing to the small underdog. That's real life. That happened in Cleveland against the Warriors. Like, anime is real. The whole city went crazy. I know that because I'm from Ohio and I was there. The big bad got defeated by the small hero, now the town saved. Cleveland saved. And our hero dipped. What's that Avatar? What's the Avatar line? The Avatar disappeared when we most needed him. That was LeBron James. What I'm trying to say is one of the best things about sports anime is their surprising realism. You know, aside from all the other crazy that happens, but we'll get to that later. It's pretty impressive that a volleyball show can go toe-to-toe with a show like My Hero Academia. Sports anime doesn't have the benefit of building a fantastic world. Instead, it relies on a more grounded foundation, stuff we all have access to. Sports anime is incredibly human at its core, because we're watching human feats on the court. And what's special about sports anime is that things like tropes aren't really tropes because they're real. Rivals, that's a real thing. You have someone you want to defeat. That's just life. Tournament art, where do you think we got that from? Sports have tournaments. And when you add all those real things together, you get the makings of an accessible and emotional story. Because sports are emotional. I've cried multiple times during sports.
Did you cry when you lost?
I've cried when I lost, and I've cried when the team lost. I think I might have cried my last MAC championship when I lost my senior year. I lost my senior year. I was the reigning champion 4 years in a row, and I lost because I was having a bad day. And I was like, my last time, and I'm out. Real life is also emotional. That's crazy, right? Whoa. I love Haikyu because it does an amazing job of pulling in new viewers. I'm talking about people who have never watched a second of sports in their lives. People who've always hated sports, like Adrian.
But I like sports.
Exactly, he hates sports, but he still likes Haikyu.
I said I liked sports.
Exactly. You don't have to love sports anime. You just have to love watching humans push themselves past what they thought they were capable of, which is pretty much every shonen. So watch sports anime. It's the same shit, but with a ball. When I first started Haikyu, I did not give a single damn about volleyball. I just played it one time in a Power Buff game that I do not remember. And by the end of season 4, I was screaming in my room like an actual match I cared about was happening. And that's the power of sports anime. Okay, yes, I love the realism in sports anime, but I love the ridiculous visual metaphors equally as much. Like, there's a whole targeting sequence where Kageyama is trying to line up the perfect shot for Hinata. He succeeds and Hinata gets his first quick attack spike. Sports anime does a pretty good job at illustrating the real feelings behind plays like that one. It just happens to use the visual metaphors like extinction level events or soccer balls bathed in fire. Or in Haikyu, all the stuff with crows. which I love. And all this happens in real life too. Let me throw it back all the way to when I was a D1 track athlete, which was like last year. I used to do this thing called high jump, where you start and you run up to a bar and jump. Pretty self-explanatory. And that run up took about 5 to 6 seconds. But in my head, it felt like 30 as you go through every analytical step to figure out if you're doing everything right. Just like in anime. And now I'm thinking about it, you know special moves in anime? A lot of real athletes have that too. Michael Jordan, with the tongue out dunk, like iconic. It's been done. This is real life still. Ultimate moves in sports anime are sick because they get the full-on shounen treatment. Okay, I know I was making fun of Goku's Ki Blast like 30 seconds ago, but damn do I love him. When it comes to Haikyu, the best name for an ultimate move might have already been claimed by Nishinoya. But there are plenty of other awesome moves that get me hype. There are flashier ultimate moves out there too. Few anime have given us as many ultimate move moments as Ice Shield 21. Saying his Hurricane Ghost Spin would give Yusuke's Spirit Gun a run for its money. And Kuroko's Basketball put a spin on ultimate moves with its in the zone mechanic. Just like Tanjiro has to learn the Demon Slayer Corp's ultimate breathing technique, Kuroko and his buds perfect techniques like the Phantom Shot, Emperor Eye, Animal Instinct, and a Meteor Jam. When these players are in the zone, they're performing at the top of their game. And that too is something I can relate to. Essentially what I'm saying is that I can't go Super Saiyan, but I can be in the zone. If I haven't done a good job yet of convincing you that Haikyu in all sports anime is a perfect blend of realism and anime bullshit, let me give it one more try. It's time to talk about underdogs. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure you don't like seeing the same person win every time. It's pretty boring and gets a little repetitive. I agree. The same thing happens with football. Like, you probably heard of that team, the Patriots. They're like the Naruto of football. Even if you don't watch, you heard of them. They always win, and it's pretty boring. So when a team like the Kansas City Chiefs takes a dub finally, oh, it's a good time. And you probably haven't heard of them, which again, like in a regular thing, it's pretty cool. Underdog takes the win. And at the end of the day, shows like Haikyu do an incredible job of channeling the excitement and unpredictability of watching sports in real life. There can be massive upsets, stunning defeats, last-minute Hail Marys that change the shape of an entire tournament arc, and unlike the 3D chess that a lot of shonen anime use to justify massive reversals of fortune, in sports anime, that shit can really happen. In case I haven't said it already, this is real life. I mean, for example, let's take this clip that Adrian found. Yeah, it was adopted shot for shot from this.
Smith got a piece of it, Barry grab behind him, back flip to second, on to first, a double play!
It looks like a play you could only find in an anime, but this time it came from real life. Underdogs are a shonen thing in general. Looking at you, Deku. But in sports anime, we know that Hinata doesn't have some tailed beast inside him waiting to be unleashed. He's not the child of destiny or an alien from planet Vegeta. He doesn't have the devil fruit powers, and he doesn't have a quirk. But he does have one tool, his body. Okay, that sounds bad, but what I mean is his athletic prowess. Hinata's progress is solely a result of his own training and determination. He's not naturally gifted like Kageyama. He's got to work really hard to get better. He's the master of his own destiny, unlike so many other shonen protagonists who are just fated to be on a certain path. I think that makes his glow up from being an underdog that much more powerful. He's on a path that we could follow. Those little victories are even more dramatic when you think about how green a lot of players on the court are. Characters like Sakamichi Onita from Yowamushi Pedal and Tachira Fujita from Welcome to the Ballroom never even thought about cycling or competitive dancing before. Most of Run with the Wind's Kansai track team is new to track and field, or even running in general. Beyond lacking skill and experience, sports anime protagonists are up against the odds no matter how hard they work. When it comes to Haikyu, it's all about height. And let's just say, Hinata isn't the tallest. It's something he can't change. But it is something he can use to become the next tiny giant. In spite of his height, we know that he and the rest of Karasuno High's volleyball team will claw their way back up from being known as wingless crows. Even better, instead of being asked to empathize with one social reject who dreams of being the king of pirates or the symbol of peace or whatever, most sports anime give us a whole team of losers to root for. Even shows with smaller lineups like Free and Surune give me lots of options. Where do we even begin with Haikyu? The whole team is dope. Daichi, probably one of the coolest captains and people I'd want to yell at me. Totally fine with that. Asahi looks like an adult, kinda scary, but he's a softie, and I love him. Sugawara, real team player, just really nice guy, and I want to be his friend, even though he's on the bench like a lot. Then there's Tanaka and Nishinoya, just really great second years I really want to be cool with. Tsukishima, kind of wanted to punch him at the beginning, but as the season went on, I still do, but a lot less. Redeeming quality. I'll feel bad when I hit him in the face this time. Then there's my boy Tadashi, also sits the bench, but has the coldest serve sometimes. Gotta work on his like confidence level, but I like you too, man. We'd be cool. And then our boys Hinata and Kageyama, the best boys, and I really just want to be friends with anybody. And I'm 23, so that sounds bad, but I'd like to be cool with you.
You'll be their coach.
I'll be the coach. I know nothing about volleyball, but put me on the court. I'll just teach everyone how to do track stuff, and hopefully that'll apply. Of course, over the series, we're also introduced to rival teams, and a lot of the time, they'll get enough screen time and development to stand out on their own, and possibly become some of your favorites to cheer for. And that's good because I don't know if I'd want to watch a whole show about Yuri without the other Yuri's fiery personality for him to bounce off of. In Girls Un Panzer, even though Nishizumi is the protagonist, she shares most of her screen time with other members of the Tankri team. And before you find me in the comments, I'm counting Girls Un Panzer as a sports anime. Tankri may not be a real sport, but fictional sports need some love too. On top of that, because teamwork is so important in sports, giving all those side characters full-on character arcs becomes really important too. Because if Hinata's the only one honing his skills, he's not going to have much of a team around him. There's Kageyama trying to be more of a team player and no longer the king of the court. There's Asahi trying to get over his fear of getting blocked. Tsukishima slowly learning to love the game again, even though he thought it was just that, a game. Honestly, all their arcs are pretty fun and entertaining to see. And things like Slam Dunk gave us Mitsui, a star player who started out as a delinquent, becoming a great player, and then reverted to his delinquent ways following a bad injury. Then there's Megalobox's Aragaki. The guy was an up-and-coming boxer before losing his legs at war. We watched him work through his PTSD as he fights to destroy Joe. That's some real shit for any anime, but sports anime makes a lot of time for stories like these. I mean, if you told me I'd be moved by a scene about flower arrangements in a sports anime, I would have thought I'd been transported into another world. But seeing how Tankri has helped Hane Izuzu become a better floral designer pretty much brought tears to my eyes. That's the kind of character development I love to see, and it's rare for side characters to get that kind of special treatment. Rivals are also well developed in sports anime. A good sports anime is packed with rivals. What's great about these kinds of rivalries is how, yes, characters may yell and fight, but they generally push each other to be better, because when you face your opponent, just as much as you want to be at your best, you want them to be at their best too. And in Haikyu, it's just the same. You have Hinata and Kageyama at the heart of it. They go from rivals to teammates who are still rivals, just ones who can work together and drive one another to always get better. And the way it's represented in Haikyu is really well done. Once again, to throw it back to my days, during high jump, you also had a high jump partner, and you both were competing for first place. But in a real competition, your points and their points matter. So if your partner doesn't do well, overall, that's a loss. Obviously, you still want to be the best, but your partner isn't your real rival. The other team is. And besides, they're the person who keeps pushing you, and without them, you probably wouldn't be as good as you are now. I went to PR with my boy Cody Stein, word to Cody Stein, who went to Ohio State and I was at Akron. We're going head to head all week for who got the best height. It was me, then he matched me, then I got higher, then he matched me again, then I got higher, then he matched me again, all the way to the national championship in Austin, Texas, where we met. When we went to the national championship, he got me. So I gotta hand it to him. Word to Cody Stein, great teammate and rival. It really is anime. Because really, the win wouldn't mean as much if your opponent wasn't really putting their heart into it. Even Rin can feel if Haru isn't at the top of his game in Free. And despite the fact that she's infuriated upon seeing her again, even Nagisa grows to realize her rival may need some support before they can face off again in Hanebado. They all know victory isn't sweet if you're just competing on your own, and neither Hinata nor Kageyama give an inch when it comes to their dedication, and when running for the club room together. I haven't even gotten to the squad on the sidelines, the managers, coaches, and cheerleaders. Where would our favorite teams even be without their support systems? Watching Karasu find their coach in Ukai and following him as he grows into the role is one of my favorite things about the whole damn show. Even before becoming their coach, he supported the Karasuno boys by feeding them from his shop after their practices. And he only becomes their coach because of the hard work of their club advisor, Takeda, who, despite being an amateur when it comes to volleyball, truly believes in the boys and does everything in his power to give them the resources needed to grow and hone their skills. Sports anime, like most shonen, makes hay from the master-student dynamic, but there's a key difference. In sports anime, the coach isn't some Master Roshi or Netero type who's somehow incredibly powerful despite being like 80. More often than not, the coaches can't exactly keep up with their players on the court, but they've got the wisdom of experience to add to the cause. Personally, I'm way more into a master-student dynamic where the master isn't some god-tier powerful mountain monk. I love Coach Akagi from Slam Dunk because dude looks like every gym teacher I ever had in my Ohio public schools growing up. I showed 21's Coach Doboroku is a straight-up drunk, and so is Nanbu from Megalobox. Mentors and coaches in sports anime aren't these untouchable gods, they're just regular people. I love that in sports anime, the coach can't just step in and kick ass when things get tough. Imagine Naruto if Kakashi and Jiraiya hadn't been there to save him when he was in deep shit. Same goes for Kite and Bisky in Hunter x Hunter. Golden Killua would be dead right now without them. In a lot of shonen anime, the mentor character is like an airbag. When something goes wrong, they're there to save your life. But that's not the case in sports anime. The best they can do is train you well and cheer you on from the sidelines. Like I've been saying, sports anime is so close to real life that we get to experience real relationships that reflect it. That being said, if there's some decrepit mountain man who knows how to jump really high that'd like to train me so I can go to the Olympics, I'm down. It's in Japan too, man. All this talk of mentorship and vulnerability brings me to my next and final point. In sports anime, the stakes feel high all the time. But in comparison to, say, Hunter x Hunter or Attack on Titan, where the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, the stakes in most sports anime are relatively low. Like, yeah, it would suck to lose to Alba Josai, but no one's gonna die because of it. And believe it or not, I think that's one of the best things about sports anime, because it means our heroes can lose. Like in real life. Real life isn't one big shonen training montage where you come out the other side with superhuman powers. But that'd be pretty dope. I would go to do that. We fight our battles every day. They just happen to be against someone breathing too close to you on the subway instead of against a villain. And yeah, the subway breathing guy beat me up. But when the potential to lose exists, everything just feels more important. The show's really unpredictable because, believe it or not, they could lose every match and it would make sense and the world would keep going. So it adds the entertainment value. There's actually some serious edge of your seat moments where you truly don't know if a pass will clear the net or if a ball's gonna sink into the basket, because you really don't know who'll win at the end. And if you do know, the drama, the tension, it's all still there. I think it's important to watch our favorite characters lose. How many times has Ash lost in the Pokemon League? Because then we get to watch them work hard to move past those conflicts, both physically and mentally. In sports anime, we see characters dig in and train hard to get over the barriers trying to get them down. Hinata always talks about the walls in his way, or the mountain he wants so desperately to see beyond. We start the series with him facing defeat at the hands of Kageyama's middle school team, and learn from that loss before entering high school. A lot of sports anime will show their main character or main team losing. Yuri starts off his journey heading back home after the end of a humiliating defeat during one of his competitions. Hanebado kicks off by showing Nagisa being completely shut out during a huge match, resulting in two of the main characters even questioning why they're playing badminton at all. And easy little spoiler, skip 10 seconds if you haven't seen season 1. They lose, and everyone's crying, and that hurts. Showing teams lose is important. Important for us to see as the audience, important to fuel great character development, and important for when they eventually, through all that hard work, get the win. And speaking of, because they have the potential to fail, it's so amazing to watch your favorite teams take home the win. When characters lose, train, reflect, and adapt, they come back stronger. Those moments are some of the best to see because we get the payoff. Haikyu is great about making sure victories are earned. It's satisfying to watch everyone's hard work come together. With volleyball, it's the collaborative nature of all those teams playing being nailed 100%. You can't help but root for them to keep winning. And Hinata vows to keep doing just that. I'm not gonna lie, working on this video really takes me back. I'm not crying, my eye just hurts, I promise. But honestly, it is emotional, I promise I'm not crying. There's something about sports that always makes you want to get stronger, and those are the only times where I felt like a real protagonist in life, was when I was training, trying to get better so I can go against the competition. And watching shows like Haikyu really take me back, and for people who haven't tried it, I think you should. Just sports in general, any competition. Because that feeling of being in that moment, those bullet times or those rivalries or those mentors, it has a lot of flavor to your life. So, would recommend. Supposed to go to the Olympics. This is making me sad. Yeah, I was very close to getting a qualifying mark to get into the trials. But they raised the trial heights because it's expensive to host the Olympics. So they're like, all right, we only want to only be elite. So they raised the thing and I couldn't qualify for trials. I qualified for professional worlds with my mark.
Why are you doing this? Why didn't you do that?
It's too late. I really like anime, Adrian. I'm Kurt. This is GetintheRobot, your anime explainer. I'm not crying.